Another day, another car, and today we have a Vauxhall Arena. During a previous service we carried out on this car, we've realised that there is an oil leak coming from the sump gasket. As this car is from the 90s, it uses a very unique gasket that is no longer manufactured by any car manufacturer out there, so getting that part was pretty much impossible. The gasket in question is in fact a cork gasket. Cork gaskets were found everywhere. It was the automotive standard for cars produced as early as the 1930s. They were found even in notorious vehicles like the BMW E9, the legendary Mercedes W123, even on Porsche's early 911 models, with all main dealers discontinuing the part, making it no longer available. We had to go aftermarket, and luckily we found one. So this is the Victor Rein's gasket we're going to be installing fresh and straight from Germany. It already has these built in, but I'm glad we got as many of them out as possible, because just in case, you never know. We're going to use a drill and a wire brush. Nice and clean now. Time to spray some WD-40. We have to hold this nut, this bolt here, with another 13mm, just because it will just spin over, and we definitely don't want that. So here we've got the sway bar drop down. Can we, well, we can certainly just drop it now and remove it, besides the fact that these bolts here are underneath this, so it's going to be a bit tricky to get to. Hopefully it won't take too long. It doesn't look too promising, but we'll do what we have to do. Obviously I'll do that with a 10, get out the way and crack on with the rest. Right, we're going to drain the oil first before even thinking about dropping the sump. I mean, this is on very snug. Oh my days. There we go, a bit of shock and impact, and here we are. Great, we lost the plug. Oh, got it. So what we're going to do now is crack all of these with 13mm. They're not tight at all, to be fair. They're only snug. Crack all of them open. And the ones that are hard to get to, spanner should fit, and crack it, yeah. So the spanner fits around the corner, and then we can crack the bolt from the top, from the side. This filter's coming out anyway, so I might as well get rid of that out of the way. So after cracking all the bolts and removing all the ones down the right side by the side, you can now gun the rest off. I'm going to screw one of them back in so that the sump doesn't fall out when I release the last two on the back. There they are, you can barely see them, these two there. So now I'm going to wiggle the sump. There we go. It's all loose, it hasn't fallen down because we have a screw here holding it. Oh, that should be easy. Come on, well, hopefully it's not jinxy yet. There we go. Oh, there we go. Right, beautiful stuff. Sump is off, and you can see everything. So this is all cork like they put on wine bottles. This is what gaskets used to be made out of back in the day. Which is quite crazy thinking about it. We've got a little bit missing here,
which I'm assuming is a little magnet of some sort here, maybe like a guide. Not sure, we're gonna have to be careful not to lose any of these. But anyways, this is what the underside of the engine looks like. Pickup tube is clean. Everything is relatively clean, to be fair, it's just full of oil. So what we're gonna have to do is clean all of this up and take this gasket off without losing these tabs. So now we're going to get some brake cleaner and spray everything clean and disintegrate any cork. And clean the oil obviously because that is filthy. Get a blade and take all that cork off around the edges where it couldn't come off.
The reason why we use the razor blade is to remove any large pieces of the cork gasket remaining. Then we use a wire brush on a drill to remove all the imperfections. As this sump is steel, you can use a wire brush, not an aluminium one, not very recommended. But as you can see, this sump is made of steel, so we are going to use a wire brush to clear out all the imperfections that the cork has left behind. We need a perfect surface so that our special sealant and our new cork gasket adheres to properly so that it never leaks again.
After cleaning everything here and obviously on the engine, now we'll apply some Loctite MR5923, and that is basically like glue, tacky glue gasket. It stays tacky because it seals. It creates like a sandwich between the pan, the block, and obviously the gasket. But what it does is it creates a tacky feeling so that no oil seeps into it, and because this is warped over the years, it kind of like evens out the imperfections and sticks to the gasket, the cork gasket in our instance, which is perfect for application. This can be used for any gasket besides obviously RTV, liquid sealant, as that in itself seals, you know, the gaps and the imperfections. But yeah, this is what we're going to be using. We're going to apply it to this and the block, and then we're going to put our cork and put it onto the engine.
In this quick little clip here, we are covering the entire sump contact surface with the Loctite, making sure everything is nicely and evenly spread throughout the entire sump. And with the amazing power of editing, we have the perfect application of the Loctite across the entire sump surface. Quick little wipe to get the residue out of the sump.
So here we are, the Loctite has been applied. Now we're going to put the gasket on the sump and we're going to zip tie it in place.
We're lining it up as much as we can without the use of zip ties so we can get a rough idea where it's meant to go. The reason why we are using the zip ties is because we need to make sure the holes for the bolts are aligned perfectly with the holes on the sump, because if they're not, we're going to be putting the bolt through the cork, which will damage it. With the help of zip ties, we can line up the holes as much as possible, and also it helps us align it to the block itself so we don't cross thread anything.
So now what we're going to do is apply this Loctite to the bottom of the block, and we're going to basically get as many screws as possible in so it holds the gasket perfectly, so it doesn't move about, because it's cork, it's not stiff, it's very flimsy. And yeah, cut the zip ties, fit the remaining screws in, that's it.
With the Loctite applied to the block itself, we can now carefully attach the sump back to the engine whilst threading in one screw to hold the sump in place, however leaving enough slack so that we can cut the zip ties off without damaging the cork.
So here we have sump fitted, nicely tight, and I could not find a torque spec for this engine at all for the sump. It's quite hard to find anything really. You have to tighten all of these around 3 times over and do, you know, good and snug, don't over tighten it. You know, cork is quite springy, that's why if you tighten this and go around, when you come around the second time, this one's going to be loose and so on. You have to go over 3 times, make sure it's nice and snug, and that's really it. Now we're moving on to the oil filter. It's a very big oil filter, a huge oil filter, perfect, lots of oil in it. And what we're going to do with it is get a bit of oil, rub it on the seal rings. so that it slides in nicely. And then just tighten it. All you have to do is tighten it nicely by hand. You don't need to go too crazy. So now nice and tight with just our hands. We don't need any tools for that. What we're going to do now is spray, get all the oil residue off, and compress there nice and clean.
One of my favourite steps is adding the oil back into the engine. Nice fresh oil, preparing it to get started. For the first time since the repairs, moment of truth. Has the leak been fixed?
We are literally almost at maximum. The line is about here and the max tab is, so we're on here and the max line is on here, so perfect.
Of course it's not leaking, the van is running beautifully. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe and get your car booked in with us if you need any repairs done. And if you found us on YouTube, TikTok or Instagram or any social media platform, let us know and we'll give you a nice discount. Thank you guys for watching.